Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph in the Bavli, Maseches Gittin, 9 lines from the top. If one of the people who brought this get says B'fonei Nichtov, it was written in front of me. And two people are saying that it was signed in front of us. Kosher, it's kosher. So why is that? Why is this different than all the other cases of the Mishna where we said that it's possible? Here's the only one where everybody agrees it's kosher. So the Gemara explained, in the case where the get is really who's holding on to it, it's only one person. The shliach is the eid ksiva, the witness that saw it being written. The nasu so it becomes like 2 and 2. There's a shliach who said b'fonei nichtav was written in front of me, so that's like considered like 2 witnesses because the chacham get makoyach to say b'fonei nichtav. And he's never basically like 2 witnesses. And then you have the 2 mamish, really 2 witnesses who are testifying about the chsima, the signatures. Avol mitachas the chsima possible. But if it's coming from under the chsima, the witnesses who said that they saw it being signed, then it's possible. Why is that? Because then you only have 2 and 1. You have 2 witnesses who saw it being signed and only 1 person who saw it being written. Says the Gemara and analysis. Obviously, that he holds like Rava. That even though you have two who brought it, nevertheless, if there's only one shliach who's not a ksiva, it's possible. Why? Because shliachim have to say b'fanei nichtav. That's Rava because they're not bookie the shmo.
Turn up the volume, can you?
You don't hear me?
I hear you great.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's the pshat of Rabbi Yochanan. He holds that even if 2 shluchim bring it, you have to say b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nechtav. So therefore, the only way you can explain the issue is that the shliach who brought it saw the ksiva. One shliach saw the ksiva, he's like 2, and the 2 shluchim who are talking about the ksiva are shluchim b'alma. They're being mekayim the ksiva. So Ravasi asks Rabbi Yochanan, or Rabami, Ravasi asks Rabami, what about the beginning of the Mishnah, where we said, if you have 2 witnesses who say that it was written in front of us, and 1 witness who says he saw this stigma. Also, Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, and Rabbi Yehuda says it's kosher. So obviously you're going to have to tie choice. But that's the hepech, that's the opposite. That the aid who's made. So the question is, "Afilu get yetzi mitachas yidishneim pasi rabbanon." L'chayda you have shnayim sheviyu. L'chayda you can have 2. You have 2 witnesses who brought it. The 2 witnesses who saw b'fonei nichtov, and nevertheless l'chom are passing. So he said, yeah. The reason why it's possible is because even if you say b'fonei nichtov, you have to say b'fonei nechtav. And what the 1 witness who saw the b'fonei nechtav, it's not enough. Rabbi Yehuda, however, who's not sure, is going to hold that you don't have to say anything if you have 2 shluchim and bring it. That's why he says it's kosher. Zimnin ashkechei the Yosef v'komer that feel get yetzi mitachas the eid chsiva kosher. So that he said that even if there's a get that's going from the hands of the Eid Chsima, it's kosher. Even if you only have 1 shliach who saw the ksiva, if you have 2 shluchim who saw the ksiva, who bring who bring the get, and they're testifying about the witness signatures, it's fine. So what do we see? What do we hold? What does he hold? What's Rabbi Yochanan going to hold? If you have 2 witnesses who bring a get and didn't say 2 shluchim who bring a get and Yerushalmi, you don't have to say anything. And that's why, even if it's under the day, the Eid Chsima, this is going back to the last case of the Mishna, that 1 says he saw the ksiva and 2 say they saw the chsima. Even if the 2 shluchim are the Eid Chsima, it's fine. It's all right. You don't have to say anything. So even though there's only 1 witness for the ksiva, it doesn't matter. make a difference because you don't have to say anything. So the problem is that in the ratio, the what about the ratio where you also have two shluchim? You're going to say it's only because the aid, the single aid, is the one who brought it. But if it's going from under the two, if there's two shluchim involved, in other words, the aid ksiva, if they're the ones who are the shluchim, then it would be kosher. Then it would be fine. He said, and then you have a problem because why is the Mishnah differentiating between the Reish and the Seifa? In the case of if there's Eidei Ksiv or Ksiva, the difference will be if you have two shluchim bringing it and the single aid is the other one, or not. Well, Zimnin lo yomet lo nehachi. So many times he didn't tell us this. He didn't say that it depends on that if you have two shluchim, that it's fine. And Rashi explains Yosidi. It's true. In other words, he said, he was makabel his question. He said he can't say that. You can't say that if you have two shluchim who bring it, you don't have to say it. Otherwise, you have difficulty in explaining the mission. You have to say that after we're talking about like the original explanation in Rabbi Yechonah, that the shliach who said b'fanei nichtav is the one who brought the get. He's the shliach. The aid who says b'fanei nichtav is the shliach who brought the get, and therefore it's okay. I shake it in the ratio because you have Shnaim and Shnaim, 2 and 2. So what would be? But the ratio that it's Shnai Meim b'fanei nichtav echad b'fanei nechtam is possible. You have two people who say b'fanei nichtav and one says b'fanei nechtam. The reason why it's possible is because we dealt with this yesterday actually. It's talking about a case where the shliach is saying, I'm the Eid Hashem. That's what we had in the beginning of the Mishnah. All right, we're up to the Mishnah. Mishnah, it's a little bit easier, this Mishnah. If it was written by day and signed by day. So it's written and signed by day. That's for sure fine, no problem. If it was written by night and signed by night, it's also fine. It's the same time frame. If you wrote it by day and signed it by wrote it by night and signed it by day, it's also okay. Because the night goes before the day. So therefore you're fine. You're good to go. Problem is, what if you did by Yom? What if it was by Yom v'nechtam b'layla? What if you wrote the get by day and signed it by night? So then it's possible. Because why? Because then it's not written the same day that it's signed. The day is a different day. The night is a different day. The night after the day is a different day. It goes night and day. So therefore you have a problem. Because when you write it by day and sign it by night, people think he actually divorced her the day before. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. He says by get it's kosher. It's no problem. Shimon said all other shtaris. A get could also mean a star. Any star, any document that you write it in one day and sign it by night, it's possible. Because whenever you're owed money, for example, and the person you lend the money to sells property, from the time you have the document that you lent him the money, you're allowed to take away from the people that he sold. Because a kola, there's a reputation, there's a rumor to shtaris. So if you, for example, wrote the shtar on Sunday, but you only signed it on Sunday night, let's say the guy also did a sale on the same day to somebody on Sunday. If you follow the Zman Ksiva, the person you lent the money to is allowed to take away from the person that you sold it to. Mashenkein, the fact of the matter is that he only signed it, it was only validated by the night, so then you have a problem. So that's why everybody will agree that by a regular business shtar, you can't have the shtar one time, the chassim at another time. I mean, the truth is, how could you even by day, how could you take it? How do you know what time of the day it was written? Except for the Gittin Noshim. Gittin Noshim is not business. It's not a business, so there's no problem. That's Reb Shimon's opinion. According to the Chacham, a get is also forbidden. We'll see why in a minute. There's two opinions in the Gemara. According to Reb Shimon, a get is the only document that you're allowed to sign by night, even though you wrote it by day.
You're allowed to sign it on a different day then?
Yeah, according to Reb Shimon. Okay. Says the Gemara Itmar, it was stated, why do we have time by get? Why is there Zman by get? Why is it important to have a time written in the get? You know, there's the Torah of Ashtar. The most important part of the shtar is the name of the husband, the name of the wife, and the time. So why is there time? A get is not a business document. A ksuba is a business document, not a get. I mean, the truth is the two are interconnected. But there's two opinions. Let's say your wife is also your niece. In other words, besides for her being your wife, she's family. It's because she's family. Let's say she had an affair. You care about her. So what would be the way to protect her from being punished for the affair? You write an early get. You predate her get before the time that she's in. And that way she could always say, I was already divorced. Shlokish has a different explanation for, sorry, so I didn't finish the explanations. Therefore, that's why you have to sign at the same time that you write the get, so that he doesn't do that. There's a din that you have to sign at the same. Something that it was dated for a different day, they can't sign it. It's forbidden. You could always create a total fraud and sign fraud in the midst. We're saying to protect the shtar from being predated, just in case you want to save your niece from being punished for her affair. The witnesses have to make sure they're signing it at the same day that it was written.
Two things,
So you can't make an
one
early
is,
get.
David, your voice is cutting on and off a little bit for some reason.
Okay.
The other thing is, what's so terrible if they let him protect his niece?
Interesting. I hear you. Yeah, you can't. You're saying, what's the problem of trying to save somebody from punishment? Let me know if I'm still. Okay, let me know. I have an interesting question. Let me know if I'm still cutting in and out. Rishlaki says because of Peiris. The husband has din with her nichse malug. If she brings property into the,
You're really cutting in and out a
she
lot.
brings property into the marriage. I think on this side maybe of the room might be better. Let me try. What about now?
It seems much better.
Oh, okay. Rishlakish Omer b'shum Peiris. Rishlakish says because of Peiris. So there's a din that the wife when she brings property into the marriage, the moment he has a din that he's allowed. There's different types of property. Okay, there's nechse barzol, nechse malog. Nechse malog is a certain type of property that she brings in that he is allowed to eat from the peiros, from the fruit of the property, because we want to make sure he takes care of it, so he has certain rights to the property. That's only as long as they're married. However, the moment he divorces her, he's not allowed to do that. If you don't have zman, when it comes to the get, we're worried about fraud, that he's going to steal from her. And he's going to claim that it was before the Gedushin. There is no date. That's why he has to date the get to make sure that the husband doesn't do this. So far, so good. The two opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the Gemara asks. Rish Lakish, my time what's the opinion why Rish Lakish doesn't say like Rabbi Yochanan? Because we're worried that he's going to protect his niece from punishment. So he's going to predate the get from before her sin. Rish Lakish will say it's not common. The Chomer not going to make a takana because of znus, because of an affair. It's not common. Especially an affair when you're married to your niece. That's for sure not common. But Rabbi Yochanan, my time, why didn't Rabbi Yochanan say like Rish Lakish? To make sure the husband doesn't steal from his wife the nichse malog. He holds that even if you write the get at a certain time, the husband's still allowed to eat from the property until he actually gives her the get. So it doesn't even matter. It's only when it reaches her hands. There's a day Masiro. Only then is he not allowed to eat from the nichse malog. So it doesn't even matter when he writes the get. Says the Gemara, makes sense according to Rish Lakish. Now we understand the opinion of Reb Shimon. According to Rish Lakish, the reason is peiros. So Reb Shimon, however, he holds a different approach. Reb Shimon will hold that the moment the husband decides to divorce his wife, is no longer allowed to eat the peiros. According to Reb Shimon, if you write the get early and you only sign it later, on the contrary, that's an indication that already is going to be enough to stop him from being allowed to eat the nichse malog. Because the moment he decides to divorce her, even before he divorces her, he's not allowed to eat from the peiros. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that we're scared that he's going to cover up on his niece's affair. My time with Reb Shimon the Machshir. What's the reason, Reb Shimon? Why did Reb Shimon say that it's fine? Why wouldn't Reb Shimon have this problem? That he's going to predate the star to save her from this affair. I'm not talking about according to Reb Shimon. According to Reb Shimon, the idea of Zman will be because of peiros. The idea of Zman is because of peiros, and he obviously holds the way we just explained, that the moment you write the star is the moment that that you're not allowed to eat from it. So it doesn't matter when you sign it. Says Rabbi Yochanan, according to me, there's a machlokes. The Chachamim hold the reason because you're going to cover up an affair. Shimon will say because of peiros. Rabbi Yochanan himself holds something else when it comes to peiros. Oh, adrabah, the husband is allowed to eat until shas and sin, until the moment you give it. There's the Gemara. Makes sense according to Rabbi Yochanan. Now we can understand the machlokes between the Rabbi Shimon and the Chachamim. According to Rabbi Shimon, the reason why is because of peiros, and therefore he doesn't mind, because the moment you write the star, you're not allowed to eat the peiros. So adrabah, you can write it early. But according to Rish Lakish, the reason is because of peiros. Ma'ika bin Rabbi Shimon the Rabbanon. What's the machlokes between Rabbi Shimon and the Rabbanon? The answer is peiros the mishas ksiva, shas ksima ikabanayu. According to Rabbi Shimon, mishas ksiva already, you're not allowed to eat the peiros. According to the Chum, until the ksima, that's why you have to make sure you sign it at the right time, in the same day that you wrote it. Don't we hear the opposite? Yitmar was stated in the peiros. From when are you allowed? From when are you allowed? Are you not allowed? Is the husband not allowed to eat the peiros and you'll take it away from him? Yochanan says from the time that you're writing it. Rish Lakish says from the time that you give it. So it's the opposite of what we said. The Rabbi Yochanan holds mishas and sin, and that's why it's not relevant. The reason of peiros, because it really is only he's allowed until he gives the shtar.
Epoch will have to switch it around to make it fit with this whole discussion. We'll have to say Rish Lakish holds Mishas Ksiva from the moment you write the Shandre, and Rabbi Yechon will say Mishas Nisina. Omerle Abaye le Rav Yosef. Abaye told Rav Yosef, Gimel Gittin Psulim. Okay, we're getting into, now we're delving a little deeper into this, the idea of the reason why you have to have Zman on a shtar. So there's three types of Gittin that are possible. We'll see it later on in Daf Pei Vav. V'im niseis avlad kosher. And if b'diavad you use the get, the child is not a mamzin. The child is going to be kosher. One of those three is the case of where there's no zman. So the shaila is, if when there's no zman, so the question is, mahi ilu chacham takanosim. If the evid it's fine. If it's still okay, but the evid, what's the purpose of the takana? Chatchila, you're not allowed to marry with such a get. So if you're going to try to write a get without zman, Rashi says the soifer hadayonim are not going to write it for you. It's going to be hard to find the professional. You can't just write. It's very hard to write a get on your own. Usually the professionals do it. And if you're going to do it with Zman, they're going to ask, okay, you have Eidim, you have this, you have that. It's going to be hard to do the forgery if they know there's a Takana of the Chacham that you have to have Zman. The Gemara now asks, Gazia Lizman Dideh V'Yave Ni'alo Mai. What if he cut off the Zman in the star and he gave it to her? According to, in other words, until now, we're talking about there is no Zman. But B'diavad, it's okay if there's no Zman in a get. What if there was Zman, but he cut it off? What about in such a situation? In other words, the idea of L'chatchil Leiton is going to help that you can't buy it from the sofer. But what if you did buy it from the sofer and then you cut off the Zman? What it says, Amar le Ladama Elei Chashina. Such a Ramos people aren't going to do. And therefore, the Chum weren't Chayshish to say that the Eved will be a problem. Such a high level of Ramos. It's interesting spot. What if you didn't write all the exact time? You just wrote the Shemitah cycle or the year, the month, the week, and so on. It's okay. If the evidence kosher, what's the purpose of the takana to have zman? I made a mistake. According to Rashi, it's kosher l'chatchila in such a case. Even if you didn't write all the exact time, you just wrote the Shemitah cycle. That's enough. If so, what's the purpose of the takana? You're not going to be able to do your scam for the cycle before, the cycle after, depending on if you're talking about paydas or to cover up. Even during the day, you should write the hour, you should write the minute, because who knows if it was in the morning or the evening. It's going to help for the day before, the day after. So to here, in this case, it's going to help for the set of 7 before and the set of 7 after. Interesting. Another case. Ravina told Rava, what if the husband wrote the get, put it in his pocket? He in the middle of a huge argument. So he has a get that he put in his pocket. And he has in mind that if they'll make up, so then he's not going to use the get. But if not, he's going to use the get. Now, what would be such a din? Omerlei, person doesn't usually bring retribution early upon himself. So therefore it's very uncommon. And you don't have to worry about such a thing. So the way Rashi's explaining, so the Gemara goes on. What about a get that's coming dinas hayam? that was written 6 months before, and it's only arriving, the actual nisina of the get is happening by Tishrei. So what are the Chum helping with the takana if you're bringing it from overseas? These, everyone will know that it's a get that came from overseas, and you're gonna have to bring a ride for when you got the get. So it's different. It's a different situation. Interesting. So it's not so clear cut, this xera of having zman. It's not like you have to say exactly up to the minute. There's a lot of leniencies. Itmar was stated, from when do we count the 3 months? You're not allowed to remarry until you wait 3 months. So from when do you count? Rav Rav says from the moment that you give the get, you count 3 months and then you're allowed to remarry. So in case you have a child, you'll know who the child belongs to, who's the father. That's why you have to wait 3 months. Shmuel says from the moment that you write the get, the husband wrote the get, that's enough. Maskiv Rav Nosson bar Hoshea the Shmuel. Rav Nosson bar Hoshea asked to Shmuel, if you have two wives in one chutzner belonging to one husband, two wives are married to the same husband. Husband went overseas, and he left two Gittin for his two wives on the same day. Only the thing is, he wrote one a month earlier with the chessim and everything. According to Shmuel, she could marry after 2 months, and the other one has to wait 3 months. People will be astonished. They'll see that they were
You just started cutting off again.
He wrote one a month, and he gave it to Smice when he left. So what's going on? So it's a big what? Oh, I'm cutting off again?
Yeah.
Okay. What about now?
Now it's better.
I don't know what's up today. The fact is, each one has a different zman, so it's not going to be a question. Tanya could say the Rav, Tanya could say the Shmuel. We have a brayso that supports the opinion of Rav, a brayso that supports the opinion of Shmuel. Tanya could say the Rav, the brayso that supports Rav. It says, someone who sends a get for his wife, and the shliach got delayed for 3 months. From the moment the get reaches her hand, she has to wait another 3 months. Well, the get yoshin ein chosheshin. We're not worried about get yoshin that maybe he was with her after he wrote the get. The whole idea of get yoshin is you're worried that maybe she'll have a son from him before he gives it to her.
What's wrong if she? What's the significance of having a son? She has a son.
Maybe she'll have a son. The get was written before she was with him, and it was given to her 9 months later. Oh. And people will say that the son was born after the get was given, not before. They don't know the situation. We're not worried about such a thing in such a case. Sometimes we are worried about get yash. In this situation, not because it was sent over by a shliach, so they weren't even in the same locale. Okay. Tanya Kavazeh the Shmuel, there's a brayso that supports Shmuel. Hamashlish get liishtay. Somebody gives over his get to a third party in order to be megarish with it after 3 months, and he's gone. He left. He told the shalish, he told the third person, don't give it to her. Don't give it to her unless there's 3 months. Misha nosnei lo muteres linosei miyad. The moment he gives it to her, she's allowed to marry her right away. We're not worried about a get yashin because he wasn't with her. He went away, he traveled away. You don't have to worry about such a thing. Only when he's with her, yichud, then you have to worry about a get yashin. So we have a brayso that supports Rav and a brayso that supports Shmuel. What's the halacha going to be like? Gemara says Rav Kana v'Rav Papi v'Rav Ashi. Avdi Mishas Ksiva. Rav Kana, Rav Papi, and Rav Ashi, from the moment the get was written, that's when they said the woman starts her count to 3 months. Rav Papa v'Rav Huna b'Rei Vishu Avdi Mishas Ksiva, like Rav. The Hilchos of Mishas Ksiva, the halacha is from the moment the get was written. Like Shmuel said.
Is that because the moment it was written, they're not allowed to have relations?
The moment the get was written, he's saying, why do we hold it? Why do we hold such a thing?
Yeah.
Why are we not choishish? She's saying that the husband was with his wife. Let me bring up the halacha. Even Ezer Simon Yud Gimel. 1 second.
Did you? Can you follow it okay, Baruch? Can you follow that? Too many interruptions.
Okay, sorry, I need 1 more minute, but I have the halacha.
Long minute. Tired.
Okay, my apologies. Okay, Simon Yud Gimel says in the Shulchan Aruch, if you have a woman who got
Yerushalmi.
divorced or widowed, no, in the Shulchan
Oh,
Aruch, yeah, we'll go in the Yerushalmi in 1 or 2 minutes. Just to bring over this halacha with, she got widowed or divorced, she's not allowed to get married to another person or engaged until she waits 90 days, except for the day that she got divorced and engaged. In order to know when it comes to pregnancy.
Is that what they hold today? The 30-day rule?
Yeah. 90 days. From the day you write the
90
get,
days.
she's counted. Even if she only got it a few years later, because there's a din, like my father said. The reason is like exactly what my father said. There's a din of get yoshin. The moment a husband writes a get for his wife, he's not going to be misiach with her. Like Zera the Chum is even if he's not fit to have a child, or even if she was just betrothed, even if she's young or she's old or she's barren or she's an ailoinus, even if her husband's overseas or a sodis or he's sick or he's in prison, doesn't matter. You have to wait 90 days.
What about a woman who can't have children anymore because of age?
She still has to wait 90 days.
You still have to wait 90 days?
Yeah, because we don't want to differentiate between different types of women, because then people will make mistakes.
Oh, I see. It's across the board.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, Itmar was stated. We'll do a few more lines. Me'emisai ksuba mishametis. From when does Shemitah wipe out the debt of a ksuba? Rav Omer mishativkim. Rav says from the moment that she gets paid partially, that already that sets into motion that the Shemitah will cancel it. V'tizkoif, and it will be a debt. The remainder will be a debt. While it's a ksuba, there's ma'isa bezin. Chacham say that the Shemitah won't work. But if it's not a ksuba, but if it's a debt, it's a milva, then the Shemitah will do what we'll do it. We'll be mishamet. Shmuel says pogma af bishalei zakfa zakfa bishalei pogma. If she got paid, even if she didn't say the rest is a milva, and zakfa, if she said the whole thing's a milva, if she didn't get paid partially, still Shemitah will cancel it. Tanya said the Rab, Tanya said the Shmuel, Tanya said the Rab. Maybe it's like ksuba mishamet this mishatifka mitiskei. From when is the ksuba mishamet? From when she gets paid partially plus the remainder she says is a milva. She didn't do these two things, these two steps. Such a tivkeim v'tizkev. You have to do both tivkeim and tizkev. Tanya said the Shmuel. Oinis v'knas ufi tov ksuba sisha. Oinis, somebody who's ma'anis a basula, somebody who violates a basula, he has to pay 50 silver coins. Knas also, you're meitzi shemra, you're married to a woman and you say that she had an affair. Ufitui, if you're mafata a woman, you also have a knas. And the ksuba zisha shezokvim b'milva. If you turned it into milva mishamtin, bim lav in mishamtin. If you didn't, then Shemitah won't do anything. Me'emes is coming to milva mishas hamada bedin. Hamada bedin is considered like skifa when you bring somebody to the bezin and the bezin say, "Oh, you owe her money." That's already considered into milva. While it's in the air before you bring her to bezin, then it's still like Shemitah is not going to do anything. But the moment you bring the bezin, when you bring her to bezin, then Shemitah will be mishamet. Over Shmuel, ksuba k'ma'isa bezin damya. Ksuba is like ma'isa bezin. Ma ma'isa bezin l'chtav b'yom l'chtav b'layla. Just like when bezin is mechayiv somebody with a psak din, even without a signature, you could write it by day and sign it by night. Af ksuba nichtevas b'yom and nichtevas b'layla. So too, the ksuba could be written by day and signed by night. Rashi says from the moment you do the ksiva by the chuppah close to the chasnus, the chiyuv is already chal even without the ksiva, even without the signatures. Ksubasi the Reb Chia Barav ichta b'yem v'ichta b'layla was written by day. The ksuba Reb Chia Barav was written by day and signed by night. However, Rav also he was there and didn't say anything. So it seems like he holds like Shmuel that a ksuba could be written by day and signed by night. A sukkah ba'isa Indian have that was different because they were also ba'isa Indian. From the ksiv until the chsima, that would be okay. That's okay. Tanya Amar Rav Loza Bar Rabbi Tzadik Leishana Lukshena Sukm Beis Indian of Sukm Beis Indian Kosher. If you're also Beis Indian, the Edim are Mazuma Lachtem, but it's Balkorcha that they have to wait until the Sefer finishes the star. Says Rashi, even though they only managed to write the chsima l'orto at night, it's kosher.
What does Beis Indian mean? What is he talking about? Beis Indian.
They're involved in the writing of the ksuba. Taisu says, it's like it's as if they signed. It's because they were ready to sign, so it's as if they signed from them. I guess the kola of the shar is only really from the time of the chsima, but it works because they were ready to sign from before. Okay, yeah, only a few minutes for Yerushalmi.
So we're near the end of the stop.
You have the art scroll now, so now we're not 3 lines in on 8A.
Yes. Yeah, that's what
You got both volumes or the first one?
Only one.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. So what line is it on?
It's 3 lines in.
3?
With 2 dots. Rabbi Yossi boy. Oh, 4 lines in. Rabbi Yossi boy. No. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. We did that yesterday. 1, 2, 3. 11 lines in. The boy. On that Chesam Rav. Okay. Rav Chisda boy. Rav Chisda asked the question. Let's say it's 50-50. In other words, he explains. Shliach said, but it was in the middle between the ksiv and the chsima was under the husband's rishus. We said this already with Rabbi Yosef, something very similar. What's the dip? We can learn from the Mishna. It says one shliach says b'fanei nichtav, the other one says b'fanei nechtam. Pasuk nishech mipnei shechadam only b'pnei shechadam b'fanei nichtav v'chadam b'fanei nechtam. Avli marber b'fanei nichtav b'fanei nischatam l'shinisiach b'shus habayim l'mshach has kosher. But if you from Mishnah, it's only if there's 2 separate people, one talking about the ksiva and the other one talking about the chsima, that's possible. But if the shliach himself says, "I saw everything," but it was under the rishus habal for shoachas, that's okay. Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Avin boy, he has another question. What if one, the shliach said, I saw one signature, and you have 2 other people testifying about the second signature? We had this in the Bavli yesterday. This is the best. It's an upgrade that you have 2 shluchim talking about the second signature. The first shliach is like 2, and the 2 shluchim is like another 2. Rabbi says, that wasn't his question. If he said with one witness, then it's a problem. Then Nasa can give edus. That was Rav Ashi in the Bavli. But this is an interesting question. Let's say there was 4 witnesses who signed. He only testified about 2 of the 4 witnesses. I don't know the other 2. He only knows 2. 2 out of the 4. So what's the din? Do we say that because he knows two, that's enough, or does he have to know all 4 witnesses on the star? The Gemara says, they have machlekes in such a case. If he told 10 people to sign in a get, and only part of them signed today, and the rest signed the next day, Shlogish says it's kosher because the main witnesses are the ones who signed today. The other rest are just considered like conditional witnesses. Rabbi Yochanan says it's possible until they all sign on the same day. So Rabbi Yochanan says all the witnesses are integral. So to here, according to Rish Lakish, as long as he recognizes a couple, it's fine. But to Rabbi Yochanan, he has to know all of them. And it seems like the halach is like Rish Lakish. Rabbi says, when in the case of our Mishnah, we had a machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chacham. If you have a case where Shnai Maimrim b'fanenu nichtov, 2 witnesses say it was written in front of us, and one says b'fanai nechtam, it's possible. And Rabbi Yehuda is machshir. So Rabbi says it's only if b'yoytzim mitachas yodoi, if you have the shliach as the one who's made on the chsima, there's one shliach for the chsima, it's possible. According to the Chachamim, even though he's believed like 2 people, nevertheless, because he's not being made on the chsiva, it's possible. Because we're worried that you might think that an aid only has to be made on the chsiva, not the ksiva, even though you have 2 other witnesses about the ksiva. According to the Yehuda, there's no gzeira. You might think that you don't have to be made on the ksiva. It's easy to think that you don't have to be made on the ksiva, so therefore they made a takana that it's possible. Mashake and vice versa, everybody agrees is okay. If you're made on the ksiva and then you have 2 edim the chsima, that's fine. But if you have the shliach talking about the chsima and not the ksiva, then you have an issue because it's osi lachluf it became shtaris liyalma. You might mix it with kim shtaris of the rest of shtaris. You might think you don't have to do ksiva. Review says there's no problem. But if you have the shluchim are the edei ksiva, but if the shluchim are the edei ksiva, the shluchim are the ones who brought it, then it's kosher. After Avana Maidu Shu kosher. Will also hold it's kosher. That was one of the kimtas that we had in the Bavli just now. Because you have shnaim, two witnesses who bring a get, you don't have to say anything. Rav Chananya, the Rabami, Omer Abzira, Mapligin b'yitz mitachas de'ach. According to him, no, there's a machlekes even if two shluchim bring it. Even if two shluchim bring it, the shluchei chsima bring it, and there's only one shliach who said that it was befanai. No, there's a shliach who says befanai nechtam. So even if the two shluchim who say befanai nichtam are the ones who are the shluchim, they're the ones holding on to the shtar. And one shliach says befanai nechtam. Even then there's a machlekes. But if it's the shliach, it's a shliach of chsima. After Rav Yehuda, even Rav Yehuda will say it's possible. The reason why is because, according to him, the chacham hold that two people bring again have to say b'fanei nichtam b'fanei nechtam. Rav Yehuda will say you don't. But if it's yoytzei b'tachas yodoi, then even Rav Yehuda will agree that it's possible because he holds that you're going to get mixed up with kim shtaris de'alma. That one shliach only has to say b'fanei nichtam and not b'fanei nechtam and not b'fanei nichtam. In front of me, it was signed and not written. Most of Rav Zira l'Ravimi, if you can say it's okay according to Rav Yehuda, when you have two shluchim that they don't have to say anything. So even in the first case, he should also argue. If one says b'fanei nichtam and one says b'fanei nechtam, in other words, you have two shluchim. So why didn't Rav Yehuda say it's kosher in such a case? Just each shliach is saying something else. I say Rabbi Yoino, Chamoy, Rami brought Rabbi Yoino, his father-in-law, to Nole, and he taught a brisa. Echadem b'fanei nechtam, possible Yehuda machshir. The Yehuda enochanami is machshir in such a case where you have two shluchim, because you don't have to say anything. Omer Rabbi Abba, Lishan Vasnisim Messiah Rabbi Zera, Bezer Rabbi Yehuda machshir. The lashon of the Mishna supports Rabbi Zera that only there's a Tosefta. It's not a Mishnah. We brought this also in the Bavli. That the machlekes is only in the end, but in the beginning he doesn't argue. But in the beginning, he's going to say it's possible because Reb Zera holds that even with two shluchim, that the machlekes is dafka when you have two shluchim that they're going to have to say b'fanei nechtam. But if it's only but if in other words, there is a machlokes, even when you have two shluchim, adarabah, that Rabbi Yehuda will say, Rabbi Yehuda will say that it's kosher. When the two shluchim who say b'fanenu nichtov are the shluchim, they're going to say it's in such a case, Rabbi Yehuda says it's kosher. But if it's only b'yoytzi mitachas yodei, Rabbi Yehuda is going to be moida that it's possible. It's only the one shliach he's going to be moida that it's possible, because we have such a mashayka in the reisha. So that's why in the reisha, oh, sorry. So again, let's just review this. According to Rab Ami, the machlokes is b'yoytzi mitachas yodoi, that Rav Yehuda holds that if the shliach who says b'fanei nechtam, in front of me it was signed, he says, and you have two eidim who say that in front of us it was written. In such a case, Rav Yehuda will say it's fine because you're not going to get mixed up with kim shtoretz de'alma. You have two witnesses for one, plus the shliach is doing whatever he needs to do. But if it's yoytzi mitachas shtei shluchim, the shluchim who say b'fanenu nichtov, then it's fine. Even the chacham will be moided that it's kosher. Mashiach Reb Zera says the machlokes is dafka when the two shluchim have it. But if it's only the one person, even Rabbi Yehuda will say it's possible, because he also will say we're geyser, we have gzeira. So then the Gemara asks, according to Rabbi Imi, if Rabbi Yehuda is going to say it's kosher, even when it's yoytzi mitachas yedeho echad, so then why don't we say that it's kosher even in the ratio of the Mishnah according to Rabbi Yehuda? If it's yoytzi mitachas yedeho echad, it's kosher. So I think I explained it wrong before. So the answer is he does say it's kosher in such a case. If one shliach says b'fanei nichtav and the other one, another person says b'fanei nichtav, it will be kosher in such a case. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that we don't have a gzeira of mixing it up with kibshtaris de'am. So then we brought the brisa that says Rabbi Yehuda specifically. We have one brisa that says that the machlokes is even in the ratio, which would support Rabbi Imi, and we have another Tosefta which supports Rav Zera that the machlokes is only in the seifa, only where it's the two shluchim who bring it. When you have two shluchim who bring it, only there is Rabbi Yehuda going to say it's kosher. Okay, so now, sorry, I think I explained it wrong the first time around. The kashel the Rav Zera, the shaila is in b'yitzim mitachas de'acher kadol lo yosu esik shnayim. Shaila is if we say that when two shluchim bring it, it's fine. So why don't we say also in the case where the shliach brings it? In other words, you have two shluchim. When in a case where you have two shluchim who bring it, why would the chachamim say it's possible? The Gemara answers kadol lo yosu esik shnayim. Masas esik shnayim is actually made of ksiva chsima. The person who's made on the ksiva has to be made on the chsima. The two shluchim were made on the ksiva are not made on the chsima. A third person is made on the chsima, therefore it's not worth anything. According to him, according to Reb Zera, the two shluchim have to be made. According to the chachamim, according to Reb Yehuda, they don't. Rabbi Yasser b'shem Rabbi Yochanan v'chayotzim mitachas yodoi, v'chayotzim mitachas yodoi. This that we say in the end of the Mishnah, that if one shliach says b'fanei nichtav and the two say b'fanei nichtav, it's only if it's yoytzim mitachas yodei of the individual who said b'fanei nichtav, then it's fine. But Rav Zera mistakel, Rav Zera was looking at him. Amalei lamat mistakel be. Why are you looking at me? If you're going to say that even if it was yoytzim mitachas yodei the shtei shluchim, it's kosher. Asio the Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Imi ad lo yachzer beit. So we'll have to say that he holds like Rabbi Imi, that in the case where the two shluchim bring it, it's fine. Ad lo yachzer beit, before he was choizer. This is Rabbi Yasser b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbana filu min de chozer beit asya he. Even after still no, we have tachas the siva b'shnayim v'chsim b'shnayim chsim b'shnayim koicha miyupe v'chsim b'shnayim in koicha miyupe. If you have, there's a difference between the ksiva b'shnayim and chsim b'shnayim. If two shluchim are made on the chsima, it's better, because that's like any shtar. Shaking ksiva b'shnayim, if you have two shluchim b'seinim b'neinu nichtov, that's not the same. Doesn't have. You could mix it up with other shtaris. So that's the difference between the seifa and the ratio. And that's why you could still say the pshat that you said in the end, that the shluchei chsima are the ones who brought it. The eidei chsima are the ones who brought it. But at the same time, differentiate between the seifa and the middle of the Mishnah. Very difficult Mishnah, I must say. All right, I think we'll stop here and continue tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.
Thank you.